Welcome to Kadioscope, and thanks for joining in. It's been quite a journey in the past couple of weeks since launching Kadioscope, and I guess I could say I'm excited and a little bit scared sometimes, and that only comes from the pressure of having to keep it up and not getting my own way. But one of my goals for the year was get out of my head and out of my own way, so I'm practicing that every single day, even with the smallest of steps. But this week I want to talk about how I've been having some really great meetings with some pretty awesome people. And typically when I meet up with folks, the conversation gears towards, hey, so are you happy in life? Or are you fulfilled? Or are you following your passion or reaching your dreams? What are your goals like? Can we talk about them? How can I hold you accountable? It's just stuff I like to do. I have this firm belief that the more fulfilled people are, and the more they are supported, and the more they go after what they truly want in life, what makes them happy, we'll have more happy people, and hopefully one day world peace. But I'm getting ahead of myself, so I'm gonna fall back a little, but can't help but have big dreams, right? So a lot of the conversations this week geared towards you already know what you want to do, and I found myself saying that a lot because usually you'll ask someone, hey, what do you want to do in life, or what do you want to do when you grow up, or what do you see yourself doing down the road, or what does that look like? And immediately I've been getting I don't really know, or I'm not sure, or I thought I knew and I don't know anymore. And my response is always, and it's probably a bit pretentious, but it's that you do know. We all know what we really want to do. It's just about having the courage to say it out loud, or even to say it to ourselves. And it's also having the courage to not get in our own way. So when bringing up these subjects and working through it, I like to think that, yeah, we already know what we want to do and who we want to be. It's just a matter of knowing who you are now. That is the hardest part. That takes the work. That takes sitting down, writing it out, thinking it out, and then talking to other people for them to help you figure it out as well. It's a really fun yet taxing process, but I promise when you go through it, it's super beneficial. Earlier this year, I sat in a conference session where one of the VPs from Google shared their concept around sustainability and how whatever initiative they have, it follows a core belief in their business. And he called this a North Star, and I love that terminology for so many reasons. When he said every company has their North Star, they stay true to it. It doesn't matter what path they take. If it's Google doing sustainability, it's going to be in line and in step with where they see themselves and what kind of company they are. And so I thought about this for people, and I was just like, we all have a North Star. This is our guiding light. It's what we keep in mind when we're making hard decisions, or when we are trying to decide or choose for ourselves what we want to do with our lives. So I thought about, okay, what makes up this North Star? What makes up these, what I call 5 major points of the North Star? And so those points are passion, purpose, power source, talent, and inspiration. And I'll write up a little post about that a little later so you can remember them. But I believe that if you know these 5 points like the back of your hand, you will not be able to not reach your goals or get what you want out of life. Because once you know your North Star, you will follow it and you will stay true to it. And any decision you make will not seem as scary, because you know that it's in your best interest, the interest of your future self. So when it comes to your passion, I usually ask people, what do you find yourself doing most of the time? What do you find yourself doing most of the time that when time passes by, you don't notice? What do you find yourself thinking about? What do you find yourself spending most of your money on? When you think about those things, that typically leads you to your passion. Again, it's about what you're doing in the moment, in the present, and not always about what you think you're doing down the line. So pay attention to your habits, pay attention to where you lean, or what you lean towards, because they will clue you in on what you're passionate about. So for me, I find myself a lot of times writing, and yeah, I could say writing is a passion, but it's not just writing, it's storytelling, and it's speech writing. It's making written word come to life. And it's being heard through writing. So that's what I would say my passion is. That's where I spend most of my time. That's where I spend most of my money, or how I make most of my money. And it's how I spend most of my time thinking about writing. The other part of that is purpose. So I read an awesome book last year that says your passion drives your purpose. So your passion leads back to your purpose. And so this is a tough cookie to settle down, because you really have to figure out, what am I here to do? And to answer those questions, you just got to ask yourself, what is your calling? What do you believe you are here to do? And you have to just figure that out based on what you love to do. Again, based on your passion. So if I find myself a lot of the times writing, I would ask myself, what am I writing? Why am I writing? Why does it matter to me? Why does it matter to other people? So when you ask yourself, why does what you're passionate about, what you love, matter to you and matter to others, then you will find your calling and your purpose. Another point of this North Star, the third point of this North Star, is what I love to call power source. Where do you get most of your power? And I like to say that your power comes from every time you make a decision or take an action that you were afraid to do, yet did it anyway. Because the more you're doing what you're afraid to do, the stronger you're getting and the more powerful you're being. So, for me, it used to be speaking up in a small crowd. Like, heck, I could give a speech in front of 2,000 people, no problem. If it's in a room of 6 people, I am a sweaty, panicky mess, and my heart starts beating really fast, because I know it's not planned, it's not well thought through, it's just my ideas on the fly. And so that's totally different from writing out a speech or writing down notes. It's like literally having to express myself without having prepped. That is where I feel the most fear. And every time I do it, every time I practice it, either on a call or in a meeting or even meeting a stranger, I'm building that power source. So when you think about what makes you powerful, think about what you do oftentimes that scare you, and you do it anyway. And then practice that as much as possible, because you build up your power, and that helps you connect back to your purpose and live out your purpose with less fear. Because again, or I don't know if I've actually said this before on here, but the goal is not to be fearless, but to fear less. So we don't want to eradicate your fears, but you want to lessen them and control them. So that's why I say practice what makes you powerful. The fourth point of this is talent. I like to say talent and skill. What are you naturally good at? Like when people say, David, you're awesome at, getting up there and rallying the troops to follow behind you, or you're awesome at painting, or you're awesome at creating music. What is your natural ability? Typically what you're naturally gifted with, and if you don't know, just practice a lot of things to figure it out, but typically what you're naturally gifted with will lend you to figuring out what your passion and purposes are. So just remember your talent, and then at the same rate, think about your skills. What are you practicing to make that talent stronger? Natural ability is great, but if you don't work on it, you don't get better. You don't become the expert at what you're good at. So that's the fourth point, talent and skills. And the last point is inspiration. So this is pretty straightforward. What inspires you? When you think about what makes you happy, what makes you smile, what gets you going, what makes you even angry, because that is energy that comes from within you that shouldn't be ignored. What gets you riled up and excited and emotional? What inspires you? What moves you? Once you figure what that is, find more of it. Get more of it. Like, just put yourself in spaces that lend to inspiring you, because that's what's going to keep you going forward, especially when you have those down moments of like, man, I don't know if this is possible. I don't know if my passion is possible. I don't know if I'm actually living on my purpose. You will need those moments of inspiration to keep you going. So those are the 5 points of the North Star, and that's a lot of times what I like to workshop with folks, especially when they're questioning where they are in their lives. And it's not to say that you shouldn't question, or heck, I question it all the time, like almost every day. But having an answer to fall back on, having that map, that North Star map, is a little bit more comforting. And your North Star will change, or you will have multiple North Stars. But if you don't have one currently, then I really, really suggest sitting down and figuring it out. I think that's it for today. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Again, I really, really appreciate it. And I guess I will see you later. Bye.